With that, I will recognize Senator Cantwell for questions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So good to see our witnesses. Ms. Robbins, thank you for being here specifically. We love music in the Pacific Northwest, and we like to get our grunge on and do many other things. But, you know, we had a music stand company in Yakima, Washington, that continued to be a big exporter. And I kept thinking, I'm so proud of you guys. How do you, they're big supporters of the Exim Bank, you know, and I kept saying, how are you so successful? I would think somebody would knock this off. And they were like, no, you're a symphony. You need performance out of a music stand. You can't have a big concert with lots of people coming and have a bad music stand. So you're a similar company that makes electronic parts and turns those into something that musicians can create with. So how are you thinking about this tariff situation, and what do we need to do to help more businesses like you grow?
Thank you so much for your question, Senator. I was really fortunate that a lot of the investing that I did in our business happened before the tariffs were increased. So in 2022, we invested in a state-of-the-art PCB assembly line. And under the current tariffs, that would be maybe triple in price. The tariffs have really made it more challenging for us to recoup our existing investment in our business, and are putting us at risk of bankruptcy if these conditions continue. We have perfect credit, and we've never missed a payment, but like I said, we're running out of liquidity. And our home is collateral on our loans, so if we miss payments and we default, we will lose everything that we work for, including our home, just as our two daughters are in college. And I don't see taking on additional debt as the answer. I also don't know why somebody would invest in a company that is currently losing money without a clear path to success. I also find the suggestion that I borrow money and pay interest to finance taxes and fees abruptly imposed on me by the government with no notice and no consideration. I find that suggestion offensive. And I believe the tariffs need to be reversed immediately, or at the very least, small businesses need to be exempted.
Well, small businesses definitely have a lot less flexibility. Do you have a big export market for your devices?
We do. We've worked very hard to increase our exports. They're approximately 30 to 40% of our sales. Although just in the last few months, we have seen that number drop drastically due to anti-American sentiment and the chaos that the global financial markets have experienced due to this chaotic trade policy.
You know, I find it takes a lot to become an exporter. We have, in the Northwest, we had programs in the 80s where we just encouraged everybody to do it. I don't know if it was our geography or just an ethos, but we encouraged people to do it. And it's hard because you're taking a risk anyway as a business person, but you're taking more risk because now you have less control over. That's why we support the Export-Import Bank so much, because it lessens that risk. But we find that ends up being 25, 30, and you're saying in your case 40% of sales opportunities. It makes sense. You have a whole global market to pursue. What are some of your best markets for exports?
Europe, Australia, Canada, Japan, anywhere that guitar music is popular, guitar-based music, and where incomes are high enough to afford some discretionary spending.
Okay, so friendly countries to us. Anyway, we should have good relationships with them, and this shouldn't really be the barrier that it is at this moment.
That's right, but we've offended a lot of our allies.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Chair.